Today we are making a coffee cake for one. It's the perfect little sweet treat, whether you're craving something a little sweet for breakfast or you need something sweet to go with a cup of coffee or tea. Now you can bake it in the oven or you can cook it in the microwave and it only takes 45 seconds. It's the perfect sweet treat for one. Now, if you're looking for a slightly bigger coffee cake, maybe one that feeds 2 to 4 people, you're gonna wanna check out my video up above. All right, so now for this coffee cake for one, we're gonna use this 6-ounce ramekin. I'm gonna link to the one I'm using down below, but you could also use an oven microwave safe coffee mug if you don't have a ramekin. All right, so with our ramekin, we want to spray it with just some non-stick baking spray. Like that. And then we're gonna take, I have in here 1 tablespoon of salted butter. I'm gonna go ahead and melt it in my microwave. All right, we've melted our butter. Now, if you're gonna be baking this in the oven, you're gonna wanna preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And at the end, I'll explain to you how you can also cook it in the microwave. Personally, my favorite way is to cook it in the oven, but the microwave works great too. So we've got our melted butter in here. All right, we are gonna take a tablespoon of granulated sugar. Now, if all you had was brown sugar, it would totally work. We're gonna do 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I just kind of scrape it on the side of the, you can use a knife, but you know, I'm just gonna scrape it on the side of the bowl there. We're gonna use 1/8 teaspoon of salt. If you're using unsalted butter, you might wanna add in just a pinch more. And then we are going to use 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. You want to use 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. This is how I measure my vanilla. And then we are going to use milk. 1 tablespoon of milk. Just use whatever milk you have in your refrigerator. And if you don't have milk, go ahead and use some water. If you had buttermilk, that would be yummy in here too. All right. We're just going to go ahead and mix this up. Just make the cutest, tiniest little amount of batter. All right. Now, no coffee cake would be complete without a cinnamon streusel topping. So we're gonna mix that up next. And I have in my bowl just a teeny tiny little amount of butter. It's about 1/2 teaspoon there. And then we are gonna add in 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. Put that out. And about 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon. There we go. And then we're just gonna, I washed my hands. We're just gonna take our fingers and kind of smush that together. Now, if you like a lot of streusel topping on your coffee cake, go ahead and double this. We are gonna add, to give it an extra little sweetness if you want, a nice little powdered sugar glaze at the end too. All right, now we are ready to, our oven is preheated. We're gonna go ahead and add our coffee cake batter into our bowl. Make sure you get it all out. There's not much of it, so we don't want to leave any of it in the bowl. And then just go ahead and push that, gently flatten it out into your ramekin. Okay. And then we are going to take that streusel topping and we're just going to sprinkle it on the top. Now, you can leave it just sitting right there on the top, but let me show you what I like to do. All right, I like to get that streusel topping in throughout the batter, so I'm just gonna take a knife and just kind of swirl it around so it'll get some of that streusel topping down in. All right, this is ready to go into the oven now. And like I said, a 350-degree oven for 12 to 14 minutes. Just watch it. You want it to start to just turn golden brown and to look set in the middle. Just stick a toothpick in. If it comes out clean, it is done. When I'm putting it in the oven, I like just to take a small baking sheet, put it on that. It makes it easier to get in and out of the oven. Now though, if you want to cook it in the microwave, start at 45 seconds. Everybody's microwave is a little bit different depending on how old or how new it is. Start at 45 seconds and it should look done and set. If it still looks damp or wet on the top, do it for another just 15 seconds and then pull it out and check it. But like I said, I prefer the oven, but the microwave works great too. Just if you're going to use the microwave, just be sure and enjoy it after it comes out of the microwave. Let it cool for a minute maybe, and then eat it while it's nice and warm, because for some reason when you cook it in the microwave, as it cools, it tends to dry out a bit. So if you want it to stay a little moister longer, the oven is the way to go. All right, well, that's baking in the oven. We're gonna go ahead and mix up the powdered sugar glaze. Now, this is totally optional. If you don't want that extra sweetness, just go ahead and leave it off. But I like the extra sweetness. We're gonna use 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and then about a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. You could also add in some almond extract into this, which would be super yummy. And then we're gonna start out with 2 teaspoons of milk. Again, use whatever milk you have. And then we're just gonna mix that up because we want a nice glazing, drizzling consistency. I was a little heavy-handed with the milk. Maybe start with 1/2 teaspoon of milk. All right, and we're gonna let this sit while it finishes baking. As it sits up, it'll thicken up and firm up a little bit. And you can, if it gets too thick, add maybe a drop or 2 of water or milk back in. And if it's still too thin, just add a little bit more powdered sugar. You just want a nice drizzling consistency. All right, now you're gonna be able to tell this is done when it starts to just slightly pull away from the sides of the ramekin, but it's still gonna look a little gooey in the middle. And when you put your toothpick in, it may not come out totally clean because of that streusel cinnamon goodness we swirled in there. I ended up baking mine about 15 minutes in my oven. I think I said 12 to 14. It's probably more like 14 to 15, and I'll make sure I note that in the directions down below. All right, now we're gonna let this cool for a minute. Just for a minute, and then we will drizzle it with our glaze. All right, my glaze is still a nice, smooth consistency. And I'm just gonna drizzle that over the top. All right, there you go. All you have to do now is grab a cup of tea, cup of coffee, a spoon. It is perfection, the perfect amount of sweet treat. It's soft, it's tender, it's sweet. Just grab a spoon and dig in. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen today, and I'll see you in the next video.